we want to hold the temperature increase to 2 degrees. Research shows that if temperature increase exceeds these amounts, it will lead to additional 250,000 deaths per year from 2030 to 2050. Is trying to stop these deaths neo-imperialism? And who will these people be? They will not be the people from the developed Western countries. Thank you, Mr. President, for allowing me the honor of speaking in this debate. I would like to speak against the motion that the House believes international climate policy is neo-imperialist. First of all, I would like to rebut some of the points made by the opposition. Firstly, Amar, while a very relevant and timely speech, it was hardly relevant to the topic. Zarit, you actually agreed with us. You listed all the perils of the current global warming situation, and you want the policy to be stronger and not to be dismantled. So you don't believe the policy is neo-imperialist. You want it to be continue and be harsher on the manufacturing situation. And dear professor, as they say, lies, damn lies, and statistics. While you had an interesting litany of numbers, there was a lot of flip-flopping going around. When you wanted to make a per capita point, India and China became part of your global south numbers. And if you wanted to make an emissions point, they became part of G20. You should take a side and stick to it. Now, I will come to my argument. One thing all of us can agree upon is that climate change is real and it is happening. And if we don't take steps to prevent it, all of us are doomed. Some of us may die earlier than others, but it is coming for everyone just the same. I come from New Delhi, the capital of India, one of the so-called victims of the neo-imperialistic climate policy. The temperatures are rising there. Just last year in North India, 96 people died in a heat wave, where temperatures were constantly at 45 degrees Celsius. Not just heat. Pollution is reaching unimaginable and inhospitable levels. The air quality index of Delhi averages 300. For London, it is 60. Anything above 100 is poor. Anything above 200 is very poor, and Delhi averages 300. This is a N95 respirator. I have been carrying one well before COVID. In a 3-week period every November, when air quality above 200 is extremely poor, above 500 is severe, where severe means just breathing the air will cause respiratory impact, and people with heart and lung diseases can die. Delhi, no, thank you. Delhi reaches 999. This is how Delhi looks for 3 weeks every year. And if climate policy slides backwards, steps are not taken, a large portion of the world will be masking, not due to COVID, but due to emissions and air pollution. Now back to Oxford. What is international climate policy? For the purposes of this debate, I would like to consider the Paris Accords from 2016, a climate agreement signed by 196 countries of the world. The Paris Accords have 3 simple aims: to hold the temperature increase to 2 degrees above pre-industrial levels, and pursue efforts to bring it to 1.5 degrees. Increase climate resilience while lowering greenhouse gas emission in a way that does not threaten food production. And thirdly, making financial flows consistent towards a pathway of lowered greenhouse emission. No, thank you. And increased climate resilience. And I'm going to go point by point to show that none of these 3 aims imply new imperialism. Firstly, we want to hold the temperature increase to 2 degrees. Research shows that if temperature increase exceeds these amounts, it will lead to additional 250,000 deaths per year from 2030 to 2050. Is trying to stop these deaths neo-imperialism? And who will these people be? They will not be the people from the developed Western countries. They will not be the people sitting in this chamber. They will not even be the liberal elite from the developing countries asking for social justice while traveling in their air-conditioned cars and sitting in their air-conditioned houses. The people who will die will be the common man from the global south. Is trying to save their lives neo-imperialism? No, thank you. Doesn't neo-imperialism lead to worsening conditions for poor people? Here we only want improvement. Secondly, we want to lower greenhouse gas emission in a way that does not threaten food production. Notice the caveat. While we want to lower emission, we want to ensure food safety is not threatened. Is it neo-imperialism when suggestions come with caveats? Isn't neo-imperialism dogmatic diktat that is implemented by full enforcement of Western policies? Also, an important part of this aim is countries voluntarily set their targets. As long as they work towards the goal of reducing the temperature to 2 degrees above pre-industrial levels, and targets improve over time. Important to note is the targets are voluntary, as long as they follow the spirit of the goal. Can voluntary behavior be neo-imperialism? China is not complaining. India is not complaining. In fact, India is on track to exceeding their targets set for 2030. The only country complaining, the only country to break the agreement was USA under Donald Trump. Can a policy be neo-imperialist? If it is harshest on, it is being criticized upon by USA, the biggest neo-imperialist of them all. Finally, we want financial flows that bring about increased climate resilience and lowered emissions. A prime instrument of this idea is carbon credits, where countries are incentivized to be environmentally friendly, and other countries can buy this behavior to offset their emission. Along with intra-country policies, where emission-positive companies sell credits to emission-heavy companies, it has also led to developing countries selling carbon credits to developed countries, with India being one of the biggest exporters. In a system where money is flowing from the developed to the developing countries, how can it be neo-imperialism? Doesn't neo-imperialism promote asset stripping of the developing world? This has also led to investments in green technologies by everyone, with constraints providing even greater incentive to create greener and better systems, which use fewer resources. A concrete example of this is the thriving EV industry. A concrete example of this is the electric vehicle industry. Incentivized by climate change, China has built a thriving electrical vehicle industry, far advanced from anywhere else in the world. And it manufactures 70% of the EV batteries across the world, and even in usage, it leads the way. With 5 million EVs sold in China last year, 3 times what was sold across the entirety of Europe. How can this be neo-imperialism, when the goal of neo-imperialism is to create consumer states and not manufacturing hubs? In fact, I claim that the biggest opponents of the current climate policy are not the countries from the global south, but the car makers from Detroit and their lobbyists in the US Congress. I reject the premise that international climate policy is neo-imperialist. And I ask that we do not dismantle the Paris Accords, where slowly but steadily we have been making progress to fight climate change. New technological developments are happening, and the rate of change of global warming is decreasing. We should not stop this to meet some arbitrary and abstract notion of social justice. The only justice seems to be that all of us will suffer. In the end, I urge you to vote for Earth's future. I urge you to vote in opposition. Thank you.